Hi, Eric. It's Margie with Basmati. How are you?
Hi, I'm great. Thank you. It's great to be here.
Thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here today. Today we're speaking with Erik Roth. He is with Inspiral Nexus. He is a shamanic astrologer. He's going to share with us a little bit about his journey and talk to us about shamanic astrology and what that is. So, Erik, please go ahead. Yeah. I'm super excited to have you here.
So, thank you. Yeah, it was really good to be here. I was really looking forward to doing this with you. My journey, as many journeys, they come unexpectedly, and it was. I mean, astrologically, I could say, it was during my Saturn return, but a lot of people here, like, what is that?
Yeah.
So when I was in between 29 and 30, I had a revolution, spiritually speaking, and I started becoming aware of things beyond myself that really lit up things inside me that previously either I didn't consciously acknowledge or simply weren't available for me. But I started being able to connect with all the life around me, and in that process, part of what awakened was dreams and connecting through dreams into my own life purpose, my own process of what was happening. And through that, I started exploring all different avenues: shamanism, spirituality, cosmology, and eventually astrology. I didn't expect it at that time, but I had never experienced anything quite of that magnitude. It was really blissful for quite a while. And in 2004, I met Daniel Giamario, who originated the paradigm of shamanic astrology, is what I practice now. And I went to Hot Springs out here in Oregon, and we did a shamanic journey and a shamanic breath work with a combination of teaching of shamanic astrology. That was my first exposure to that, and it was life-altering. I mean, spiritually speaking, it brought forth the deeper levels of who I was, some of the darker places, and I was allowed to kind of purge some of that out that weekend. And
that's so powerful. That is so powerful. I'm just going to, sorry for interrupting, but as you're saying that, I can just feel your heart opening, as that experience was happening, and how you dove into parts of yourself that you hadn't even seen before. That came across very clearly when you were saying that. That's so powerful, Erik.
Thank you. Yeah, it was definitely, it sent me to tears. I remember coming home a day early because I had thought that the workshop had, the last day was optional and I had to go back to work, but I had this cat I was taking care of. But I came home and I was altered. I was in altered space. And it was all natural process. There was no plant medicine used. There was no any kind of stimulants or anything along those lines. It was perfectly through breath, through music, and going into the soul. I returned back to reality, and I was altered forever. And for the last few years prior to that, I had been seeking. I've been a seeker, and I still am a seeker. Finding truth, finding meaning. What does it all mean? What is this thing called humanity? Who are we? What is this? What is it all? Where do we come from? And what happened? And as my teacher Danny likes to say, what the hell happened?
Yeah.
We all have a role to play, and it's in discovering what that role was. I mean, I was in commercial insurance for many years, and during that time, I was in commercial insurance all the way up until 2012. But that growth, I had kind of exploded upon the scene a bit, and I knew that shamanic astrology, I had looked at other kinds of astrology, didn't really touch me that deeply, but this did, because it honored the totality of who I was. It honored me for who I was, and didn't wasn't judgmental. It
Yeah.
didn't like clasp onto like a sign that was bad or a planet that was bad. It honored the person that I was and what I could co-create in this world. So I really got my attention. So I started exploring. I started taking intensive workshops through the years, and eventually in 2010 started my practice as a shamanic astrologer. And at the time, I thought I wasn't quite ready, but it was the universe that told me that eventually that I was, as it typically goes.
Yes, you are ready. Here you go.
Yeah. So I thought, I still have a couple more years before I learn, but no, people were wanting readings, and I was starting to get requests. And so I established my practice at that time, and birthed that in 2010, and that certainly came through as I on my website inspiralnexus.com. I described how that name Inspiral Nexus came to be, and it was through a dream of seeing this blue spiral with and the word in spiral is like an integration or insight, and it can be added either in the word spiral, the spiral of life, the connection to all things. And then the word nexus, the connection point between the sky and the earth.
Yeah.
Ever present. We have this powerful relationship with the sky, the sun, the seasons, the moon, planets, the stars. It is part of who we are that we've gotten cut off from, and most of the Earth's population, and now, especially with light pollution, we don't see as much as we used to.
Yeah.
And in ancient times, they relied on it. That was part of how they operated. It was just as important as the land was, as the animals were, as civilization. The sky was part of that fabric. And so shamanic astrology is bringing that back and understanding that we exist with it.
Yeah.
That in harmony with it. It is a solar system. It is a system that we are part of, and it's not separate from us. So
I love the name, and I love how that came about for you, and I want to thank you for sharing that with us, because it speaks to a lot, for me, speaks to a reminder of how connected we all are, and to everything. And sometimes we can forget that.
We can. We get caught in our daily lives.
Yeah.
On our computers, our phones, our tablets. We, especially all the responsibilities we have. There's so much to do, and it keeps growing even more every year. And then we can step outside and if we can just tune out of that zone, that space for a while, and look up and breathe it in. When I look up and see the stars, the word that came to me when I was 19, my first exposure really to the stars, that I grew up in Los Angeles, was home.
Yeah.
It struck me in such a powerful way that I didn't really know how to. I wasn't sure what to do with it all. It was so vast and overwhelming in some respects that now when I look at it, they've become my friends, my allies, my guides, my teachers. I see Mars and I greet the stars, I greet the planets, and they're my friends, and anywhere that I go that I can see them, it makes a huge difference. And connecting it helps me stay grounded here on Earth, and our Earth's relationship to the stars and the seasons in which we operate. They all are part of that immense fabric, the cosmic fabric that we can live and breathe ourselves and really deeply tune into. So that's shamanic astrology allows us to do as a tool to derive from that allows us to connect on that deep level. Yeah, so I look at the stars as much as I can. Of course, in the wintertime here, I live in the Portland, Oregon area, and the winter is really tough time to see the night sky. But there are windows at times where I get to connect with the stellar friends and be able to see it. Where because I know that we have trainings that we understand the navigation of these constellations, the way the planets move across the sky, and it's amazing how much knowledge, how much insight we can get, any one of us, by just tuning into it.
By tuning in, yeah.
Absolutely.
I often will sleep outside, and if I babysit often as well, and there are many times that we'll put up an open top tent, so there's like a netting, right? And so that we can watch and sit with the stars. And it shifts everything in you if you just take even a few minutes to breathe with them. Just a few minutes, if that's all you have. It resets your whole system, or at least mine. It's fantastic. Do you want to share a little bit more about what Shamanic Astrology is and how you do readings and what that looks like?
Yeah, thank you. Shamanic Astrology is an astrological paradigm. It's a tool that a person can use to help them understand their role in the cosmos, their role in life. It honors the totality of the human condition, our light and shadow, everything that is us. There is no judgment with it. It's not good or bad. The planets aren't good or bad, or that you're born under a bad sign, as that song might share.
Yeah.
But it's something that honors every ounce of us, the human being as itself, and that it honors the process of both evolution, where we are spirits and matter moving toward a point of beyond, ascending beyond the physical realm, and also devolution, where we're spirits coming into matter to be human, to experience what it means to be the complexity of the human being, where it's not like we're just here to sign up and to resolve our sins and just go back to heaven, but we're here to experience millions or billions of different combinations of what it means to be human. And it's remembering that, and that's the joys and the sadness, the ups and downs of who we are. Shamanic Astrology is a process that honors that. It's also not sun sign based, but the sun is part of it. It's an important tool in that process. But it's so the moon, Venus, Mars, the ascendant, all of those play really powerful roles in our identity, what we were coming into this world, our tools and skill sets, and also what we're beginning at in this life, which the ascendant, which I like to call the dawning of ourselves, rising over the eastern horizon when we're born, is that identity we're working on this life. And Shamanic Astrology honors the process between the masculine and the feminine, and all the different wide variety of incarnations that these can bring in. That is the mixes of the masculine and feminine, the shades of it, but it's more than just the biological, the principles that show up, and the limited roles we've been given in this life of Western culture. That it's revolutionary in this way, where it's giving us permission to become ourselves, and any role that we want to play that shows up that we honor, regardless of one's gender or sex. That Shamanic Astrology, also one of the more hallmark things is that it's an experiential, and it's, as I described before, it's having a relationship with the cosmos. It's not just about staring at an astrology chart on the screen, but you can use it in ceremony, you can use it in your spiritual life. It can fit into just about anything, and it's the pattern, the greater patterning of how the planets move, from our perception standing on Earth, and being able to connect with them as they move across the sky, and that we are moving with them, that it's not so much a cause and effect, but it's in co-creation with them.
That's so powerful, and what an amazing explanation, Erik. That because to be honest with you, I've heard a little bit about it, but not as you just shared that with me, to the depths of that. And just literally when you said about us having a relationship with the cosmos, my whole system just expanded and was like, oh my gosh, like that's it. That is it.
Beautiful. And when I get readings, that's part of what I love, being able to help a person thrive in their life and empowered to make better and informed decisions that honor themselves, and be able to use their free will. It's not a predictive or deterministic type of astrology. It's something that gives them a perception, a perspective, so that they can, be empowered in their lives to make the right kinds of decisions for themselves. And I've been doing that for many years now, and many, many hundreds of readings, and I love doing that, and it's really profound, and I learn something each and every time as well.
Yeah, that is always, I love that when you're working with something or someone, and all of a sudden you're like, oh yeah, we are, like, we're all teaching each other, right? Mm-hmm. All of the time. Erik, so I know that you do readings and you do remote readings as well, right?
Yes, in person and remotely.
So it's best for people to get a hold of you via your website, correct?
Yeah, inspiralnexus.com, INSPIRAL, Nexus, NEXUS.com. And that's my email address, too. It's inspiralnexus@gmail.com.
Okay, perfect.
You can find all kinds of resources there, ways to get a hold of me, and where I'm going to be, too. I've got classes coming up.
That's what I was just going to say. I know you have some events and workshops coming up, and those are, obviously they change as the year goes through. I know you have a couple coming up in California, right?
That's correct.
So those are fantastic. I will be attending the one in the Sacramento area. And they are 2 to 3 days, right? Depending. I think these are 2.
Right. The Sacramento one is 2 days.
Okay. So what do people expect when they go to a workshop? And do you have to have experience? Do you have like chat with me about that? What that would look like?
There's no, this particular workshop, what I call Shamanic Astrology 101. Mm-hmm. There's no experience is required, because I teach the very basics of what is astrology, why is astrology, and where it came from, and then I teach about the signs, or what we call Shamanic Astrology, the archetypes, and a little bit about the planets, and then each person that's in the group, they also get information about their own charts. We have some dialogue, interaction during that course. And so it's not just a one-sided thing, that it's a participatory thing with the whole group. And so, it's a 2-day, this is a 101 class, but I can also teach like day classes that are, different versions of that, but also even for people who do have experience in astrology. There's also other kinds of things that I can teach around, like the night sky, or, what Shamanic Astrology is to those that understand even other kinds of astrology. So, it all depends on one's level. But this year I'm doing 2 workshops that are 101. So even if you've never touched astrology in your life and you're interested, you can take this one.
That's awesome. And as you said, like, we can continue on if someone wants to go into it and dive deeper, as you did, right?
Yes.
They can continue that path with you. if someone wanted, could you work with them one-on-one?
I could. I do mentoring,
Okay.
which is one-on-one, either over the phone or video or in person. And I can teach this like that. But there's also resources. The Shamanic Astrology Mystery School has major resources and online courses and teleclasses as well. So I work for the school too, and so I feel free that they can ask me about that as well.
Fantastic, Eric. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today, and I look forward to talking to you again.
Sounds wonderful. Thank you. I appreciate that, Margie.
Oh, you're welcome. Have a beautiful day.
You too. Thanks.
Bye-bye.